to episode 3 of Popcorn and Prosecco, a show where we talk about movies, and more movies. This week's half hour is dedicated to The Wind Rises, the Academy Awards, and one of this weekend's new wide releases, Nonstop. I'm Perri Nemiroff, and here are my co-hosts, Kristy, Puchko, and Angie Han.
Hey.
Hello.
All right, so this week we're kicking things off with The Wind Rises. Kristy, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, so this is the latest Hayao Miyazaki movie, and possibly the last Hayao Miyazaki movie because he claims he's retiring. And rather than it being some sort of fantastical interpretation of, say, a Hans Christian Andersen story or some other sort of fairy tale, it's a sort of biopic about, and pardon my pronunciation, Hiro Horikoshi, who was a engineer who designed airplanes, and he actually designed the fighter pilots that the Japanese used in World War II, many of which went on kamikaze missions. But the movie itself is actually about his journey of creation, and there's an earthquake, and there's a love story, and there's a lot going on, and it's Miyazaki, so it all has that kind of fluid animation, and it's getting a lot of critical praise. I saw it at New York Film Festival last fall, but now it's out again because Disney has done an overdub version where they brought in American actors like Joseph Gordon-Levitt and John Krasinski and provided new English-speaking voices for the movie. So that's where we are. So who wants to kick off with the review? I will. Okay. So I like this movie. I gave it a positive review at a New York Film Festival. I'm actually in the trailer, so look for that. And I think it's beautiful and it's really cool. I'm not in a lot of trailers. Let me throw that in. But yeah, so it's actually really beautiful. And I mean, if you're familiar with Miyazaki, he just has such an interesting sensibility where he lets his animation kind of warp and take different forms that makes it really fun to watch. But the downside of it for me, and we can get into this in more detail, is that I feel like it's like a puff piece about a guy who wanted to create beautiful flying machines, but did create war machines, and I feel like the movie kind of tries to gloss over that aspect of his life in a way that made me a little uncomfortable. But what did you guys think?
I don't think you're the only one. The movie, if you just take it at face value, it's really lovely. It's one of the best films about creative passion, maybe, that I've seen recently, or possibly ever. It's just like especially in the first half of the movie when he's just growing up and like getting really into airplanes and trying to design them, you really feel like how alive it makes him feel, and if you've ever felt excited about any sort of creative project, I think you can understand where this person comes from, and it's just really like amazing to watch. But it kind of glosses upon the fact, it kind of touches upon the fact that his planes are used for war, but he never really seems that bothered by it, to the point where it almost feels like the movie is just kind of being like, I mean, yeah, like these went on to do make World War II possible, but it's cool because the guy was following his creative passion, and it's just kind of disturbing, especially not to get too political, but like Japan has not exactly had the best track record of owning up to the things that they've done that are not great, so that makes it a little bit more disturbing. So I don't know. I mean, I feel really it's weird. I feel so conflicted about this movie because on the one hand, as a movie, it's a really great movie, and then on the other hand, there's this whole other sort of political aspect of it that's like a little unsettling. The other complaint I had, which is not political at all, is that there's a love story in this. Basically, he meets this girl like during the Japanese earthquake of 1923. There was like a really big earthquake, and then their paths cross when they're adults and they fall in love, and he like proposes to her, and then she's like, yes, let's get married, but I have to tell you something. I have tuberculosis, I'm dying, and I literally laughed out loud in that moment because I was just like, this is like a second-rate soap opera. Like, are you kidding me, movie? But it was not kidding me. That was a real thing that happened, and like the rest of and I don't know, that whole entire plotline was just very like trite, and yeah, no, it was not as interesting to me as the first half of the film.
All right, I'm gonna be the odd man out here and like the odd person out in general. Freaking hated this movie.
Hated?
I was like sitting there like that, trying to keep it open. I can't remember the last time I've been so bored. I didn't connect to a single thing in this movie. Like I almost had like no clue what they were talking about half the time until after things happened. Like even when the earthquake was happening, I'm like, oh, I get it's an earthquake, but then half the town's on fire. Is it like a brush fire? Is the town just on fire for? I just like lost perspective of everything. The tuberculosis thing was absolutely ridiculous, and it was like, oh, I haven't seen you for half of the movie. Now we're supposed to remember that you were actually the little girl from the beginning. We're meant to be together and live happily ever after with my tuberculosis. That made no sense at all. And then, like, his whole freaking airplane dream just did, like, nothing. None of the pieces connected. There was no build in this movie whatsoever. It was kind of just like, I'm going to have a dream. I'm going to try to build an airplane. I'm going to have another dream. I'm going to try to build another airplane. And it was just like back and forth the entire time. Nothing connected, nothing built up, and in the end, like, essentially, I just felt nothing but tired.
You know, I can actually kind of see where you're coming from, because one thing I found kind of weird
It's episodic.
One thing I find kind of weird about this movie is that there's actually not that much conflict. For one thing, the character is extremely uncomplicated. He doesn't really have any flaws.
There is there's no conflict. Yeah. There's no structure either. There are not. There's no acts in this movie. It just it goes and goes and goes.
That's a fair point, actually. I mean, yeah, it's strange because like the love story, there is no. I mean, the complication is that she has tuberculosis, but like there's nothing to be done about that. And yeah, I think it's a really beautiful movie to watch. And I think watching it at New York Film Festival like helps with that. But you know, it kind of, because it gives you the sense of like rarefied and art and whatever. But like, you know, I don't really have a desire to ever watch this again. Like, I liked it. It was interesting. But I was I mean, honestly, like, as far as a satisfying narrative, it really did. The more I sat with it, the more it bothered me how, you know, because that would have been an area for conflict for him to really focus on. And they talk about it a little bit, where he's like, I just want to make beautiful planes. They're the ones that make it war machines. And it's like, but you have to acknowledge you have a part to play in this. And like,
yes,
you know,
it's extremely simplistic, and the more you think about it, the more disturbing it is that this guy is like, I mean, I know, like, you know, lots of people are being killed by my inventions, but it's cool because, you know, I saw a mackerel bone once, and I decided I was going to use that to make a wing, and that was awesome. I don't know. I'm making it sound like I like this movie less than I did. I did like it. It's just that there are these problems with it, which the more I thought about it, the more they started to like get under my skin and make me feel uneasy.
Yeah, you know what drove me nuts? The sound in this movie.
Like, oh, I really love the sound.
There were like some sound effects where I could literally picture a person in a sound booth being like this is an airplane engine.
No, I actually really like that. I know that's really weird, but yeah, no, she's totally right. There's airplane sounds that are literally like. You're welcome, Internet, for that face. But then there's like, you know, like the earthquake is all human sounds. I actually thought that was really interesting. I don't know. I think because for me it played into the whole idea of like someone making something with their hands and I guess their mouths. I don't know. I like that, but I can understand where if you're not into it.
Another
just, like,
sound problem though is I prefer those silly sounds versus this, that in some points of this movie, there was no freaking sound at all. Like, I swear to God, there's a couple points where there's like 30 seconds where you don't hear a thing. It's like I sat there with my remote, I'm like, did I sit on the mute button or something? There's just like nothing.
Perri, I have a question. Since you didn't like this movie, have you seen his other movies, and if you have, like, do you like them better?
I'm not into it. This is like, it's just like not for me. I don't know what it is. I just like can't connect to like the style and what I'm seeing. I mean, I have the same problem with the large majority of them.
Okay, I like a lot of his other stuff. I think my favorite's probably Howl's Moving Castle. But yeah, this one I like the restraint of it. I like certain elements of it, but you know, I don't know. In the end, it's a little sentimental for me, and then really forgiving in a way I thought was strange.
I also wonder if part of I'm not saying it doesn't deserve good reviews. It does, but I also wonder if part of the amount of acclaim it's getting has to do with the fact that this is supposedly his last movie, and I feel like everyone wants to think that he's gone out on a really high note.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not saying they're like lying to themselves or to their readers, but it's when you really want something to be true, it's really easy to see it that way.
Sure. So just to wrap up this section, would you recommend this movie to people for this weekend?
Nah.
Yes.
No, go see Frozen.
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, especially because it is Disney, but this is not a kid's movie. It's very dark. There's a sex scene, sort of.
It's like the most G-rated sex scene ever, but
It is.
Considering what his other movies are like and what Disney movies are like, it's notable that they even imply that two characters are capable of having sex at all.
Yeah.
I think more cigarettes are smoked in this movie than in like every other live-action movie that came out last year combined.
Like there were more cigarettes in this movie than in like a noir film. Like seriously,
watching cartoon characters smoke cigarettes really bothered me. I was like kind of disturbed by that.
That's funny. Yeah, I would say it's not really a kids movie. I think if you really love Miyazaki, then go ahead. But I don't know. It's not cuddly, this movie.
Yeah, I think I would recommend it if you are an adult that likes Miyazaki. If you have small children that like Miyazaki, I think that they may be kind of bored.
On to our Oscar picks. Angie, you want to go for it?
Yes. So, as you have probably heard, there's a big thing called the Oscars happening this weekend. And we've been keeping track of who's been winning what and, who's in the running. So I thought that we would just spend a few minutes talking about people that we are specifically rooting for. And I will start. I'm really rooting for Lupita Nyong'o to win for 12 Years a Slave. But I have to confess that part of why I'm rooting so hard for her is because I am terrified that Jennifer Lawrence will win. So not to make this all about Jennifer Lawrence, but I like her a lot, but I don't think this was her best performance. I don't think that this was her best performance. I don't think it was the best performance in the movie. I don't think it's the best performance in the category, so I'm really scared that she's going to win. But going back to Lupita, that was a really good performance, and I mean, she's a newcomer, so I don't think anyone knew at all what to expect, and she just, like, from the moment she appears, she just holds your attention. She proves herself more than equal to the much more accomplished actors that she's up against. I was blown away by her performance, so I'm rooting for her.
If Lupita didn't win, who would you want to win?
Let me look at the thing real quick. Not Jennifer Lawrence. I would probably say I'm gonna go with Sally Hawkins. I thought that she has a role in Blue Jasmine. I mean, it's Best Supporting Actress, and so yes, it's a supporting role, but it's like very much a supporting role where her whole job in that movie is to be overshadowed by Cate Blanchett. But if you actually watch what she's doing, like she does a really good job with it. So, what about you guys? Do you guys have any choices for who you want to win Best Supporting Actress?
Yeah, I want Lupita to win. I was blown away by her performance when I saw 12 Years a Slave, and I think Jennifer Lawrence is great in American Hustle.
No, she's not.
I like her, but I think it is a part that relies very much on her just being sexy and funny, and that's terrific. But like, look at the degree of difficulty of what Lupita pulled off. That is a hard part to play, and she's playing like. For me, she became the focal point of the movie, and that's not easy because everybody in that movie is pretty damn terrific. But, like, I walked away from that being obsessed with Patsy's story. I wanted to know what happened to her, and I was really fixated on it. So, like, I'm rooting for Lupita. And also, she is killing it on the red carpet. So outside of that,
oh my god, yes,
I love the whole. Oh my god, I love the whole story of it, and she's fun on Twitter. If you're not following her on Twitter, get on that. Like, I think she's fantastic, and I think Jennifer Lawrence has an Oscar, and she's great, and she's gonna continue to be great. Like, I feel like this is Lupita's moment. This is her breakout. It is her first film, which is insane, and I'm rooting for Lupita.
What about you, Perri?
I'm agreeing with both of you. I want her to win. I like Jennifer Lawrence, and I thought she was the best part of American Hustle, so I really wouldn't be all that bummed if she did walk away with it, but I think that Lupita deserves it way more. I mean, that one shot, like, you know what shot I'm talking about in that movie, it, like, goes down as one of, like, the most like unforgettable shots in like years.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever been so uncomfortable watching something before, and it's because of the shot selection and because of what she's doing in that shot, and it just goes on and on and on. She deserves it. She should win, and I think she's gonna win too.
Yeah.
I have my hopes, and then I have my predictions, and then I have my fears. And my fear is that Lawrence will win. But I think, Kristy, also, you made a really good point that she also has a really difficult role. Like, it's, I feel like sometimes the Oscars awards people with showier roles, and I guess this is one of the showier ones, but it's honestly, like, you can imagine what that role would have been like if it was played by a lesser actress, and it would not have been nearly as complex and interesting. Anyway, so someone else can go. How about you, Kristy?
Yeah, all right. So we each wanted to pick one topic that we really have a strong point of view of who should win, and I think my guy's gonna win, but I think he deserves it. For best director, I think it's gonna go to Alfonso Cuarón, and because Gravity is incredible, and I mean like the thing is that I think those people that have like not seen it in theaters and are just gonna wait for it on DVD or whatever are never gonna understand it, which is a shame because we have to remember at the end of the day, the Academy Awards wants people to go see movies in theaters. It's a huge part of what they're about, and Gravity made people go to see things in theaters because it reminded us what a magical environment a theater can be. I've written before about how Gravity, like Quran in making this 3D movie considered the space of a theater and how you are basically in this dark abyss, and he made you a part of it through the use of 3D, through the use of his creation of space, and like of outer space, and it was terrifying and it was exciting, and you know, I mean, when I saw the movie, I literally threw my hands up in front of my face as if like no space to breathe, and then like had to remind myself like you're an adult, put your hands down.
Watching movies sitting next to you is always fun.
Yeah, all the time, guys. That's how it works. But I mean, like, I think he did an incredible job, and he's been cleaning up on the award circuit. So I think even though, you know, I don't think Gravity's going to win like Best Picture, I think he's got the Best Director. I think it's absolutely going to go to him. I think people are going to realize what an incredible feat he did by creating this movie. I mean, it's mind-boggling what they did to manifest space, and I think he's going to get it for that.
He deserves it too. I mean, every other award show it's picking him, and they're all picking him for good reasons. He should get this for like the exact reasons you just said. This is like one of the only movies out there that is a true cinematic experience in every respect. Like visually, the 3D, the sound, like that is a movie that puts you in the movie. And what better thing is there than that? Actually, though, if I had to pick any other option, it'd be someone who isn't nominated. I want Spike Jonze to win for her. Because, like, why aren't we talking about that a little more? Because all right, I mean, directing is hard no matter what the subject matter is, but he created, like, his own new world, too. And can you imagine how difficult it is to direct your actors to act with, like, a phone and a voice that doesn't even exist at the time? I was just so blown away by that. But he's not even in the running, so Gravity's got my vote.
We need to remember the people who nominate the Oscars are a lot of them are really old. It's like the Supreme Court. I don't know if everyone realizes this. You get voted in, and then you were in it until you're dead. It doesn't matter if you still work on movies anymore. It doesn't. There's not like a yearly thing where you have to be like, look, I'm still relevant to this industry. It's just like, no, we said okay 50 years ago. Hang in there, buddy. So, like, that's part of the reason I feel like there's a really slow curve on the Oscars.
Yeah.
But, I mean, her got nominated for a bunch of other things, so that's very cool.
It's probably going to win the screenplay, yeah.
I better win screenplay or I'd be bummed.
I'm rooting for Cuarón, too, for a lot of the same reasons Kristy said. I mean, it was just the purest expression of the power of cinema that I've seen in a really long time. Like, you know, there's a lot of movies that look better on the big screen, but that was one of the ones where you're just like, oh my God, I had forgotten what an amazing, powerful experience it can be to just watch something in the cinema. So he's got my vote as well. Perri?
All right, I'm going with Frozen because if you watched previous episodes of the show, you know that I'm obsessed with Frozen. You know all three of us are very obsessed with Frozen. And I'm like going to be like devastated, like not just angry or sad. I will like be turned into a pile of mush if that film does not win, because look at what it's up against. That movie has to win. There's just no other option. It's just such a special film. It makes everybody happy, kids, adults. It's made a ton of money at the box office, like to an incredible extent. And on top of that, it's got people going to see sing-along screenings. They're still producing material for it. I don't know if you guys saw that, you know, the Making of Frozen video that Disney just... And that's so much fun. Like, I want more of it. That doesn't even have the characters in it, and I still want more. Like, you could already pre-order
the DVD. But you could already pre-order the DVD, which I have. But people are still going to see it in theaters. I've gone 4 times now, because my husband hadn't seen it, but I had made him listen to the sound. Well, I shouldn't say made him. I listened to the soundtrack. He liked it. We listened to the soundtrack a million times. He had all the songs memorized, but we hadn't seen it yet. Or he hadn't seen it. So we went together.
Do you know how many times I took that damb BuzzFeed quiz trying to get a different character?
Yeah.
Why am I the troll?
Whatever. I was Marshmallow, and I was like, I don't understand. Whatever. I know it's totally arbitrary, but those BuzzFeed things get on my nerves so bad when I don't get an answer I'm like, how am I marshmallow? Like, and then I changed scarf choices, and it was like, oh, you don't want the purple and orange scarf? Elsa.
I am Elsa, and I don't care if the quiz results said I was Marshmallow first. I'm definitely Elsa. Actually, I'm probably, if it was a better quiz, I would probably be Anna, because I also bump into everything, and it's very sad. Usually not into handsome princes, but most other things.
I'd rather be Sven, because he's like a puppy, and I like puppies.
Wouldn't you rather be Kristoff, because then he has the puppy?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. He's played by the very handsome Jonathan Groff, so... Yeah.
And on the Frozen train, totally. I'm also rooting for Frozen for Best Song, because...
Yes.
Yes.
Well, let it go. I mean, really.
I'm so excited for her to sing that on stage. It's going to be amazing. I'm already claiming it. That's going to be my favorite moment of the night.
I'll never forget when that theater we were in just, like, burst out screaming that song. Like, it was, like, a song they've known for years. Like, when you go to a bar and they play a really old 80s songs and everyone flips out, that's what that song was in that theater.
Yeah. It was amazing. And it was like, we saw it in, like, the 9th week it was open, and already all these people knew the song so well. That was beautiful. That was a really fun experience.
I think I like the way Perri wrapped it up. I mean, really. That's the best argument there is.
You don't need anything more than that.
No, not really. So on that note, I think we can move on to the next topic.
All right, now we're going to hit one of this weekend's new wide releases, Nonstop, and unlike Pompeii last weekend, this one's got like a nice short and sweet high concept that we can explain. So Liam Neeson is Bill Marks. He's an air marshal, and during a flight from New York to London, Bill gets an anonymous text message on his super secure air marshal phone, and it's threatening to kill a passenger every 20 minutes unless this sender is given $150 million. It's ridiculous. Like, some of the plot points in this movie don't make any sense whatsoever, but it's another Liam Neeson action thriller. It's fun to watch. I feel like that's a guarantee at this point, no matter how silly the story is, and no matter how bad some of the performances can be around him, and how weak some of the characters could be around him, too. There's actually not that many bad performances in this one. It's just more so underdeveloped characters. But it's just, I'm, like, okay with Liam Neeson doing this all the time, even though it's repetitive and, you know, spread out, have some range. But he does it well. I mean, he's one of the few action stars that makes me invested in the character and care about the character every single time he does it. So, like, who's to say he should stop? More of this. Nonstop. Hey.
Yeah, I am less enthusiastic about it. I liked it okay. But my major problem with the movie is that I feel like a lot on Cinema, a lot of our commenters, anytime we wrote about this movie, were being like, so it's taken on a plane? And I know that's what people want. They want Taken on a plane, and that sounds amazing. That's not what this movie is. Like, it's a dumb movie. The plot is dumb. There's so many things that you just have to be like you have to tell your brain, like, shut up. I just want to enjoy this. Like, I wanted to be like the valets in Key and Peele and just be like, nonstop! Ah! Like, I wanted that to be my reaction, but it's such a dumb movie. I enjoyed it in pieces. Like, parts of it, there's a bathroom fight scene that's bonkers and I was totally on board with. There's a later action sequence that's a lot of fun. And I gotta say, everyone in this movie commits. It is no one's like fault acting-wise. Like, there's commitment and and texting, but like texting is boring as shit on screen. I don't like. I've had some people disagree with me on it.
Even if you make your text messages spin around in a circle.
Because the autocorrect floats up, by the way. He's typing, and it's like, do you mean this
really?
word?
How did I miss that?
Oh my god, it happened like twice, and I was like, why? I don't care. Like, Sherlock, the TV show, did texting in a way that was kind of cute and quirky, but like, it was cute and quirky. It wasn't a huge part of the plot. Like, it's just so much of the movie is Liam Neeson looking down and being like, boop, 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 boop. And I'm like, I can't.
And if he is not looking down and being like, boop, 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 he is running around that plane like a freaking loony, like a Looney Tune, running through, like, the aisles.
Which I actually like.
Over people.
Yeah, there was actually one part where he runs through, for anyone that's ever flown before, he runs through an aisle people are sitting in, and you could hear people in the theater laughing because it's like, no, that doesn't happen in Coach.
It's not possible. And he's like a huge guy, too.
Yeah, he's 6'4". They
didn't admit that plane was designed for him, though. Like, yeah, they were like, his size.
They're like, he's 6'4". We had to make some adjustments, but yeah, no, there were parts of it I liked a lot though. There's a really good cast in it. You have Lupita from 12 Years a Slave.
Oh, but her role is like itty bitty. Like it's kind of weird that we're bringing her up just after like rooting for her in an Oscar because that role in Nonstop is like nothing.
Yeah, I think she has less than 5 lines.
And you know what? What's her face? The other flight
Michelle
attendant?
Dockery.
She got her character went nowhere either. Like
yeah, well that's kind of the thing. It's like I feel like that's part of the red herrings they set up where they give you all these actors and you're like, oh, I know that guy, so he'll probably be something. And in a lot of the cases, it's like no.
Setting up a red herring is way different though than just like stopping character development at a really weird point in time.
That's a fair point.
Which happened to almost every single person, actually, that they started to make you think could have been the person. And,
yeah,
I mean, Julianne Moore's character, too.
Yeah, no, they basically reveal why they are or not the person, and then they just stop talking about that character is what keeps happening. They're just like, oh, well, it's literally like Bill Marks is just like, I don't care about you anymore. But, like, my thing is there's also some lines in this movie that made me actually sad for Liam Neeson that he had to say them at all.
Free international flights!
And there's one where, this is not giving away anything relevant, so I think I can just explain it. There's a part where he goes to an old woman and asks her who used the bathroom after her. And he said, do you remember who used the bathroom after you? And she goes, that was a terrible Liam Neeson. Sorry, guys. So anyway, so he goes, she says, yeah, it was only an hour ago and I don't have Alzheimer's. Which was funny. But then he says that as, like, facts later where he's like, I asked her, and she said you were in the bathroom after her, and she doesn't have Alzheimer's. And I was like, yes, I was, someone wrote that down and was like, golden. And then gave it to Liam Neeson, and then he had to memorize it and say it again in front of people. Like, there are parts of that movie that are, like, cringingly dumb, and I think it's the director's fault. Which is lame. But, like, the movie is fine. If you want, like, mindless, dumb action, click your brain off, and I think you'll be fine. But, like, if you're expecting Taken on a Plane, some
of the plot points are moronic. Like, truly, like, just stupid. A lot of the decisions...
I'm not going to say what it is, but the final reveal about, like, why...
You know, that's the only thing I think that could really kill the experience. Like, if you like movies like Taken, you will probably enjoy this. But once you hit the end, even if you've enjoyed it up to that point, that could ruin it because it's one of those feelings where you find out who is doing it, and then you find out their reason, and it's just, it's like, doesn't make sense, and it's not convincing, and then you're just sitting there like, oh, I just went through all of that for this. For this? Yeah. Like, really?
Because it's a neat concept. I mean, the idea of being, like, stuck on a plane. Oh, and my favorite part of the movie is actually where there's a section where him behaving so like a lunatic and running around freaks out the passengers, understandably, and they're like, maybe we should mutiny against the air marshal. And that was a really cool idea. Like, the idea that, like, Liam Neeson is, like, as charming as he is freaking people out so bad, they're like, we have to stop him. Like, that's interesting. It's in the trailer, so I feel like, again, I'm not like, whatever, but like, that part I thought was really cool. There are parts of this movie that I think work. There are parts of this movie that are really cool, but, like, overall, I would just say, like, it's okay. It's, like, it's here. It's not here. Just...
See, those parts, though, they would have been cool if Liam Neeson's character, his thought process was saner. Like, if I understood why he picked Scoot McNairy's character.
He grasps the stars so much. He's just like, I saw you before. Yeah.
Like, if this guy went through all this freaking air marshal training, how does he not know that by behaving like this, someone's going to whip out their camera phone and, like, watch him beating up on the freaking passengers? Yeah. It just makes no sense.
He's really shocked by that. He's like, camera phone? Like, it's 2014.
After he's been texting for half the movie.
Yeah, I was like, do you not use your... Okay, fine. I don't know.
There were just so many small details that got lost, too. Like, I wasn't even buying the whole, like, I'm a drunk kind of thing. And I didn't
There's,
stop,
like, one scene.
I didn't stop thinking about that freaking toothbrush in the opening of the entire movie. I am, like, still to this day panicked that someone is going to try to brush their teeth with that.
Yeah, it's literally just that he put his, like, toothbrush in whiskey or something. I don't know. It was whatever.
He had coffee and he put the alcohol in it and he, like, swirled it. And then all I'm thinking is, like, now how is he going to brush his teeth?
I think that was like, you know, it's like, now it's clean alcohol. I don't know. It was whatever. It's fine. It's okay. I don't know. It's
a pretty cool set, though. Like,
it is a cool set. I mean,
production-wise and production value-wise, this movie is kind of through the roof. It's really, it just, like, blows my mind that they shot this, like, entire film in that tiny little set with, like, a film camera, nonetheless, with all those extras. Everyone had to be on set every single day, because, like, think about it. Every single shot, there are going to be people in the background. I really can't imagine how you schedule and shoot something like that.
I mean, I've seen some extra work that'd be really exhausting and terrible. Like it would be cold or wet or whatever. But like also like having to sit on a plane for weeks.
And they had to sit in coach while Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore got to sit in first class.
Yeah, like only 4 people get to be in the first class, and it's like the rest of you are back here being schmoes. Yeah, I don't know. That sounded not fun. But I mean, like, yeah, it's okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I would tell somebody to go see this movie though. Like, I
would. I think if you like Taken and you like the gray and like his typical type of shit, you're gonna like this.
But I feel like if you're one of those people that's like, I don't know, should I see this or wait until it's on TBS? I'd be like, you can totally wait until it's on TBS. Like, you're not gonna be missing. Like, it's not like a theatrical experience that I'm like, no. It's like it's not like Fast and Furious movies where you want to be a part of that audience, being like, what's happening? Though it was, I gotta admit, the audience was kind of funny because they did laugh at certain lines and they did cheer because it's Liam Neeson, so he says certain things you're just like, oh, Neeson. Like, he's a likable guy.
We're running low on time. Do you want to hit on any spoilers?
Nah. I mean, I feel like the spoilers.
Unless we like flat out spoil the ending.
Yeah.
The ending sucks. There's the closest thing to a spoiler you're gonna get without us explaining the ending.
I feel like if you know that going in, maybe you won't be as disappointed. The reasoning behind what happens is
we're
lame.
doing a service to the film community. Now you can enjoy nonstop because we told you about the one really bad part.
Yeah. There you go.
All right.
You're welcome.
That is it for this week, but if you enjoyed the show, follow along at popcornprosecco.com, catch us on Twitter at popcornprosecco, and also be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, again, Popcorn Prosecco. Angie, where can viewers catch you on the web?
You can find me on Twitter at AJHan, H-A-N, and you can also find my work on Slashfilm.
And Kristy?
You can find me at Cinema Blend and Pop Crush, and I'm on Twitter at Kristy Puchko, Kristypuchko, and tune in next week and you'll find out why I'm all fancy dressed today.
Like the suspense.
Because I know everyone's really excited, like she's wearing a sweater and a necklace.
Wait until you hear the story about that necklace.
Guys,
this is like our coming soon section.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get people back for sure now. Anyway, you can catch me on Twitter. My handle is Nemiroff, and all over the web, comingsoon.net, movies.com, screenrant.com, collider.com. We got this covered, shock ya, and my own website, because why not, littlemisscritical.com. Thank you all for watching. We will see you next time.
Happy Oscars.